Hi, welcome to the She Moves Mountains podcast. This is your host, Kamala Murphy. Thanks for joining us today as we talk about some of the juicy stuff we women experience that makes this life journey truly amazing. You know, the nitty-gritty, the love, the loss, the falling down and rising up, the getting lost and finding our way again. To our hearts, our happiness, and to the awareness that we can and do move mountains. Thank you for joining. Hi, this is Kamala, host of the She Moves Mountains podcast. Welcome to this episode. Right now, we're in the middle of the holiday season, and I'm having some mixed feelings about the holidays. On one hand, there's the joy of the season, and on the other, I have some misgivings. There's some weight about the holidays, or maybe it's not the holidays. Maybe it's about the situations in the world, and that adds to a little edginess for me and disappointment. So the holidays feel a little tinged with something that's not joyous. So, on one hand, I want to be talking about the joy and the celebration, the goodness of the holidays. And yet there's something that's been troubling me. And, granted, my mother-in-law passed this last month. And so there's a tinge of sadness and grieving in our family. And also, I think there's, for me, the whole situation in the United States and around the world. There's just so much turmoil and divisiveness and anger and bitterness. It's just pervading everything. So I think, I just have these mixed feelings about the holidays. And I want to be sharing about the good things, but also acknowledging that there are some of the things that are troubling. And I happened to find something the other day about, this gentleman has written something that, gosh, I wish I could have written, And how many times does that happen where you'd like to say something, but you find someone else has written so beautifully that it captures exactly what you'd like to say and better than you could. So in this case, that's what happened to me. There are so many things that I wanted to express. And this gentleman just did it beautifully. It just captures the essence. So anyway, this gentleman, his name is John Pavlovitz, and I'm going to read this because it's just too beautiful, and I want to get it right. So he writes, "I'm not writing this to everyone. I'm writing this to you, the person whose heart is heavy today, the one for whom this day is not merry and bright, the one who doesn't feel at all like singing. I'm writing this to you who face subtraction today, who feel the combined attrition of all the losses you've accrued this year, the people who have died, the ones who left voluntarily, those you've had to push away to protect yourself. I'm writing to you who've seen the end of something you loved, the dream that dissolved despite how much you gave up to make it real. All the things that you wish to be true right now and should be true, but are not. I'm writing to those who have watched their best attempts to save their marriages not be enough, who are finding themselves no longer half of the whole they once felt securely part of. Those who have a different set of chairs around the table, far too many of them empty. I'm writing to you who are grieving, those sitting vigil in hospital rooms praying for good news, those who just got test results back and have heard the worst, those who are spending this day planning a memorial service instead of a holiday celebration. I'm writing to you whose personal demons have gotten the best of you, who've been visited at the very worst time by depression and addiction and self-hatred, those whose greatest threat to joy right now is an inside job. I'm writing this to those who are alone today, geographically separated from the people they love, emotionally distanced from those they desire proximity to, pushed by circumstance to the solitary places. I'm writing this to those who have been left broken by this year, by its cruelty and bitterness and violence. Those of you who harbor more anger, carry more grief, and bear more fear because of what you've seen and what you know and how you feel about this place you call home. Ultimately, I'm writing to you who for a million different reasons find peace difficult to come by in a time when it's supposed to be plentiful. I don't have any magic words to fix what is broken around you or to repair what is broken within you. I can't simply place a cursor on the sadness you feel and backspace until it's deleted, replacing it with words like comfort or peace or contentment. I can't say anything in this small space that will mend what is severed, resurrect what has died, or heal what is ill. I just wanted these words to hopefully remind you of two things. The first is that you are not alone, that even though you're uniquely suffering in the specific sadness you're inhabiting right now, you are not suffering by yourself. The world is filled with people who are not exactly, but still deeply burdened, grieving, angry, hopeless, exhausted. Even if you never see their faces or know their names, rest in the truth that millions of wounded people stand in solidarity with you this day, and that they get it. I get it. The second thing I wanted to remind you of is that though this is your painful story right now, it is not the end of your story. The way you feel today will not always be the way you feel. As difficult as it is to imagine in these painful moments, there will be holidays where lightness returns to you. Days when you are cultivating new dreams again. When you once more feel secured in a place where you belong. When you again find yourself embraced by people who see you and treasure the goodness in you. Days when you are easily pushing back your demons. There will be holidays when celebration is your default setting. But right now, don't feel any guilt for the sadness within you. Don't beat yourself up for not wanting to sing right now. Don't feel pressured to have the shit together and that simply isn't together and won't be for a while. Just receive this Christmas or holiday as it is. Receive it as you are, with all the struggle and uncertainty and grieving it brings. I'm not writing this to everyone, but if I've written this for you, be greatly encouraged. You are loved. I invite you to take a breath and let that in. You are not alone. And if you feel that anger or frustration or not peace, you're not alone. Again, I think Mr. Pavlovitz captured something so beautifully and so eloquently that I had to share it. So for those of you who he did write to, whether it's some grief in your life personally, or even if it's the grief of the world that we're living in right now, whatever it is, I hope this message, this reading, does give you at least a glimmer of peace and hope and hope. And I think that's it for today. I thank you for tuning in and listening to this piece. And I look forward to connecting with you next time. Normally I say peace and blessings, and it feels a little trite today. But it is meant from the bottom of my heart. So may peace come to you, even that glimmer, and blessings, knowing that you are loved, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if you do feel alone. There is love. So until next time, take care all. Bye for now. You've been listening to the She Moves Mountains podcast, coming to you every week. If you're a woman who wants to move mountains in your own life, please make sure to subscribe or follow this podcast. And if you've laughed or gotten teary or smiled knowingly thinking, oh yeah, that's me too, please go ahead and rate the episode with 5 stars. It'll be a feel-good thing to do. Thanks a bunch. Lots of love and blessings to you. This is Kamala signing off. Until next week. Take care.